Hi and welcome back to the channel. This is section 14 from engine removal and overhaul procedures 2E, section, is that page 11? 2E11, 2E page 11, section 14. Remove the cylinder, so this is the piston connecting rod assemblies removal. So that's something that it says you can do then for the Zetec S. So that's 4 spanners. Remove the cylinder head, some oil pump pickup tube and baffle plate. Endura E, Zetec SE and Endura DE engines with reference to chapter 2A, 2B, 2C. On Endura DI engines, unbolt and remove the lower crankcase. I call that, where it says lower crankcase, I call that I think that's like the splashback. Isn't that the splashback shield? Recover the rubber gasket. A new one must be renewed when reassembling. See illustrations. Rotate the crankshaft so that number 1 big end cap, timing end of the engine, is at the lowest point of its travel. If the big end cap and rod are not already numbered, mark them with a pet marker pen. See illustration. Okay, so this is picture for number 1A. 14.1A, unbolt the oil pickup pipe, filler and return pipe. So that's that. Okay, so that's 2 bolts there. That's the pickup. 14.1B, then unbolt the lower crankcase and remove Endura DI engine. I think it's on the Zetec S as well though, because it's on the Savage Garage, he's got that. Then 14.2. The big end caps and connecting rods are normally marked with the relevant cylinder knobs. Oh yeah, see that? 2, 3. Not sure. Rotate the crankshaft so that number 1 big end cap, timing end of the engine, is at the lowest point of travel. If the big end cap and rod are not already numbered, mark them with a marker pen. Mark both cap and rod to identify the cylinder they operate. So what we need to do as well, with reference to this, we need to go to the Savage Garage and get the timing pins. And there's a timing bar for the camshaft so that he was talking about. Unscrew and remove the big end bearing cap bolts and withdraw the cap complete with shell bearing from connecting rod. Make sure that the shell remains in the cap and if necessary identify it for position. See illustrations. If only the bearing shells are being attended to, push the connecting rod up and off the crank pin and remove the upper bearing shell. Keep the bearing shells and caps together in their correct sequence if they are to be refitted. 3, oh hold on. So 14.3. Removing the bolts. Oh yeah. Removing the bolts and big end bearing caps, Zetec SE engine. Right, so what we wanted was work out whether these were stretch bolts, whether the bolts have to be renewed, and what the torque is for the new bolts. And also whether you can get a bearing kit, whether you can get the bearing, big ends cap, bearing, replacement caps kit. Be a bit tricky. Oh yeah, it would be possible to do it, wouldn't it? And when you're taking them apart, you've got a space to keep them in order. Unscrew and remove the big end bearing cap bolts and withdraw the cap complete with shell bearing from the connecting rod. Make sure that the shells remain in the cap and the necessary identify position. Right, 14.3. If only the bearing shells are being attended to, push the connecting rod up and off the crank pin and remove the upper bearing shell. Keep the bearing shells and cap together in their correct sequence if they are to be refitted. 5. If the piston is being removed, push the connecting rod up and remove the piston and rod from the top of the ball. Note that if there is a pronounced wear ridge at the top of the ball, there is a risk of damaging the pistons as the rings foul the ridge. However, it is reasonable to assume that a rebore and new pistons will be required in any case if the ridge is so pronounced. Repeat the procedure for the remaining piston connecting rod assemblies. Ensure that the caps and rods are marked before removal as described previously and keep all components in order. That's it. Okay, so thanks for watching. That was the end of section 14. So So this is, okay, so that was 14, that's removing the pistons. Then section 15 was in my previous video. Section 16 is cylinder block, crankcase and boards cleaning and inspection. But that's in the next video because I don't want to make the videos too long. Okay, I know it's a bit. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Please like and subscribe.